Okay, we're back with the gameplay video of Doduododu's Goldilocks Henselt deck. Doduododu, take us through this video.
All right, so beginning hand. What the ideal hand is having Vest and a heavy cavalry. It's the basic combo. You don't want to have any blue stripes in the hand, obviously. And in this particular matchup, Kedwini Sergeant is not really useful because you don't really want to demote their cards. So right now I got a pretty good hand. It's normal. It's not the best, but it's all right. So,
And you talked about how NR could be one of your harder matchups on a regular basis. Are there any concerns? Are there any different plays that come about when you see you're against a Radovid?
all right, so my card advantage versus NR is ultra important. If they manage to be up in cards, it's where the game starts to be hard. Because most of the time, Henselt will be used in the early rounds, and Weather will destroy me on the third round. So that's pretty much it. So we can see he's playing Ogvis, so I have to make sure I'll always be same card advantage or ahead.
Okay, and that's pretty hard to do against Ocvis. It doesn't look like you have much in the way of dealing with Ocvis in your hand
No.
right now.
So I think right there is gonna do a pretty interesting play. So he had the choice, like what I said earlier in the deck build. He had the choice: either he kills Vest or he protects his Ogvis. So that was his choice. But right now my combo is already on the go.
Okay, and here's a big play, of course. A lot of people are asking questions about King of Beggars, like how important is King of Beggars? How good of a card is he really? What do you think about him?
All right, so King on Beggar and Priscilla are key cards to thin your deck. If you don't have any in your beginning hand, this is where the deck starts to really be average. But if you have one of each in your hand, it's pretty good. But King of Beggar is a key because you can pull a lot of cards up in your deck, including Vest.
And at this point, removing Vest off the board, what are your thoughts on this? Is this just activating a medic for you? Is she an instant replay?
Yeah, I think she's an instant
You
replay
sweat like a swine in
because
that
I have the option to just install the row and have two protected commandos. Because one thing you have to keep in mind is that the commandos will always be Igni targets, so you want to make sure to not lose too much of it.
Yeah, that's a great point because a lot of people aren't experienced with commandos and they don't realize that they don't stagger strength at all. They just come out as one massive force.
That's one big problem with those, but seriously, I never had a problem with like people killing my commandos because most of the time when I have two commandos naked in a Igni target, it's because I want them to Igni. Like if you can make them remove Igni on the first round, it's perfect for you because you're like reviving a commando is actually good for you.
Yeah, and having your medics live, of course, is a plus because they're in your hand and you want to be able to use most of your hand in round one.
Yeah, so right there I passed because I had 40, like around 35 gold strength, and he had to, if he wanted to push with his Ogvist, he had to play a lot of cards. So that's, like I said earlier, I want to be up in cards or even.
Yeah, so he goes from being up one or two cards to now having to play out the entire ticker of the Ogvist, and he's down one card and still down 6 strength.
Yeah, because Ogvist goes back to hand.
So a tough spot here for the Radovid player, and he decides to use Radovid's abilities. So you actually have Bloody Baron in hand. I assume you didn't play him because you're against Radovid. And
Actually, yeah. Well, that's why I have Renew. Like, I don't really care about
oh, that's right, Renew, the secret technology.
Yeah, so people kill off Radovid, kill off Baron with Radovid like almost instantly because they fear the demote into Shani for the next round. But I don't really mind if they kill the Baron.
You stand
That's a great point. I forgot all about Renew, but now I'm reminded prominently as Stennis digs it out of the deck. And of course, here's Ogvis back. So you're up 2 cards while playing Bloody Baron. What are your thoughts on this round? Are you just trying to win efficiently?
Yeah, of course you want to win with like the biggest card advantage possible, but it's hard versus Ogvis. Of course he's gonna try to push, so like I need to play my cards in condition. But one thing that's really important when you're down a round on round 2, you always want to be ahead in points. So if he passes, you don't have to play more cards to catch up.
Great point. Always being ahead, and now you're at a point where you're ahead by a good margin, so you could fit in Stennis there and not go behind, which is a huge difference, right? Than playing your disloyal to be behind.
That's one thing I like keeping decoy for second round because playing as Stennis is not a problem with this deck since you dish out so much points that you're always going to be ahead most of the time.
Yeah, and right now he replays the Stennis, so you guys are kind of mimicking your card plays, which means you're preserving card advantage right now.
So right now I was thinking he had a guard in his hand. That's why I played the heavy cavalry, so I can pull out Roach later if needed. But that's why that was my only threat. It was guard this round. I was trying to play around it the most I could.
Mm-hmm. So Igni are not a card that we see too often in Reactive, but the fog does suggest that it's a possibility here.
Yeah, I don't want to take the chance.
Yeah, and of course we saw in the deck profile how important the melee row is for this deck. So you are playing around it very carefully to not give him too much value and a way back in.
Like, even though my melee row is where I put out the most points, my back row still has a lot of points. Baron
and the gold points mean a lot more too.
Yes. Cavalries are really good because on their own they're 7 points, but with Roach they're 10-point plays, even if you don't have any gold in your hand.
That's a great point.
I told you so, you idiot.
And they will bring Roach back out. And here's a bit of a chain res. So now, kind of tempting him a little bit. If he has Geralt Ard, how long can he hold on to it at this point, right?
Yeah, one thing I like to do is resing blue striped commandos when we have more in the grave, because they still get buffed wherever they are. So they're gonna be huge in the grave, so they cannot touch it, and you can res them with Shani with gold strength, which is really important.
So you end up getting a bigger pile of gold strength off Shani's res. That is another thing that's good against not only Northern Realms, but good against Scoia'tael, because they don't deal with gold strength very well either.
Exactly. It's really easy to get 9 points commando in your grave, and then just Shani it and have it's a 16-point plays. And it's really hard to deal when you don't have any huge numbers.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like this Reactive player is really trying to control round 2. He's pretty much all-inning here on you.
Yeah.
I'm a medic. I tend to know what
2
I'm
plays of
doing.
Akvis is very aggressive for round 2. And this Shani play is, in fact, just an all-in.
Yeah, it's an all-in completely, and I have Igni. I'm like, oh shit, Igni value on the
Let's
August,
get this
easy
over
game.
with.
And basically at this point, you didn't have any chance. I think he's gonna rage quit or something, but...
Yeah, I mean, once you Igni the Akvis before the ticker goes, Shani on board, even if he's playing Renew, he has to know he's in a tough spot, and you end up pulling the victory out. So that was a really solid, resounding win against Reactive. Any closing thoughts on the deck or the gameplay or anything in general?
Well, the deck, of course, it's not top tier, but it's really fun to play. You should all give it a try, and it's really fun. And one last thing I want to point out is for the Blue Stripe Commandos, on the last round, I had Shani and Renew, and I used a commando on the second round, which means I have 2 7-point commandos in my graveyard. So with only Shani and Renew, I can pull out Baron and have a 7-point commando on the board, and then Shaniing the last one for 11 points. It's a huge play with 2 cards.
So in a situation there where there weren't many cards in play from both players, you would have been able to produce around 40 plus strength, a lot of it being gold. So you're in a great position to win that game regardless of how that player reacted.
Well, these are my favorite kind of decks that can put out a lot of points with few cards. It's really fun to play.
Yeah, it's really bursts of damage coming out, that bursts of strength coming out that are hard to react to on the board without having Igni, especially when the targets are gold as well.
And it's not a common deck, so people are not really used to play against it.
Yeah. Anytime I queue into something that's not Scoia'tael, I get really confused and befuddled.
Yeah. It was great fun, man.
Yeah, this looks like a fun deck. I recommend it to everyone. I have tried it out personally. Once again, I want to thank you for joining me today, Doduododu, and huge shout outs to you again for producing those videos for the competitive matches, as well as helping me out here with this video. So thanks again.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you guys next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. We are Gwent City, and until later, have a good day.